Joining me, Amy's father, Mitch Winehouse. Mitch has written a book called Amy, My Daughter. Mitch, what prompted you to write? First of all, I got to say something. Let me just say, I am so sorry. As dad to dad, I mean, this must have been just, I've seen you out in public talking about this, and I just feel so awful for what you must have gone through. This is a horrible disorder, addiction, and it steals the best and the brightest, and it stole your daughter. And I'm sorry for that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Is there anything about that topic that prompted you to write the book?
Well, there were three main reasons that I wanted to write the book. The first was that I felt it would help me in my personal recovery, which it has to a certain extent. The other was that there were so many misconceptions after Amy passed away. People assumed that it was either suicide, believe it or not, or a drug overdose, that I wanted to set the record straight. And also, we've created the Amy Winehouse Foundation, and obviously from this book, all the proceeds, my proceeds, go to the foundation. And we needed the money because there's lots of young people that need our help, both in the UK and in the US, and that's what we're doing.
With addiction?
In the UK, we are supporting drug rehabilitation facility in the UK. In the US, the very first project that we're doing is down there in New Orleans, where we're hopefully going to be working with the New Orleans Jazz Orchestra and creating some after-school music clubhouses for the kids to attend.
Outstanding. And let me ask something about what's going on in Europe. It seems like Europeans make this weird distinction, and we actually saw it here, I guess, with Whitney Houston, between drug addiction and alcoholism. Those of us that work in the field, it's all the same. Why do people point at Amy and go, oh, if it's alcohol, it's okay, but if it was drugs, it was bad?
Well, because in this country as well, you know, alcohol is, you know, you're not buying the alcohol from your local alcohol dealer. You're buying it from a supermarket, or you're buying it in a bar. It doesn't have the
illicit quality,
the criminal element,
the
illicit quality that drug addiction has.
Yeah.
So it has a. But you know what? As you will know, alcohol will get you quicker than crack or heroin will.
That's right. I mean, in our country, the things that kill people or cause cancer or cause severe medical problems are alcohol, cigarettes, and pills. Those are the big ones. My patients don't die of cocaine or heroin anymore. Mitch, I hope you'll permit me. We're going to take a few phone calls, and I want to talk to some of Amy's fans and hopefully yours as well and see what they have to say. Karen in Virginia.
Yeah, far away.
Karen.
Yes. Hi, Dr. Drew. Hi,
Karen.
Mr. Winehouse. I have
Karen.
a comment to make. I feel so bad for your loss of your daughter and commend the foundation and everything, but I feel that blame for Amy's death is on herself. Once that curtain of denial has broken down, and then the person, the addict, is responsible for the recovery.
Are you a recovering person yourself, Karen?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Okay. And it seemed like poor Amy never really got her head around recovery. There was really something and let's face it, she had bad addiction and it killed her. I mean, that's the reality. Not everyone gets well from addiction, Karen. That's the unfortunate truth.
I know.
You know,
we have a disease that tells us we don't have a disease, and once that denial is broken down, then we're responsible for taking care of it, which is abstinence. It's never cured, but their remission is abstinence.
Right.
And healthy living, and 12-step programs, whatever is necessary to not.
Okay, let me let Mitch respond to that. Go ahead, Mitch.
Okay, well, I understand what you're saying, and I appreciate what you're saying, and to a certain extent, I agree with you. Amy stopped taking drugs in December 2008, and she proved not only to herself but the world at large that there is life after addiction. She did extremely well, and she was extremely strong to get away from crack cocaine and heroin. And but then, of course, the alcohol kicked in. And this isn't the delusions of a grief-stricken father. She told me that in April she was going to quit drinking in the same way that she'd quit drugs. And the last 6 weeks of her life, 5.5 of them, were spent in sobriety. that is typical of somebody who's moving towards total abstinence.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the last 2 days, she drank an inordinate amount of alcohol, which again is typical for somebody who's moving towards sobriety.
Yep.
And it was just an incredibly unfortunate accident. But I agree with you. In my book, I laid the blame partly for Amy's drug addiction at her husband Blake, who said he introduced Amy to Class A drugs. She took to it like a duck to water. Fine thing to say about your wife. As far as he did not kill her, he's not responsible for her death. She is responsible for the amount of alcohol that she drank. Bottom line.
And Mitch, it's
I
interesting.
agree with you, Karen.
And Mitch, it's interesting. I'm hearing you talk about your daughter's condition now, and I've heard you speak about it in the previous months. And it seems like you've had a bit of an education about this. You really had to learn about this disease and how it affects people.
Well, you use the term correctly. Disease is the correct word. In the UK, it is not regarded as a disease, because if somebody was suffering from a heart attack or, God forbid, cancer, the state, if they can't afford private care, the state pick them up, the NHS will care for them, they will nurture them, they will either get them back to health, or if they die, they're cared for in the most loving way, except if you are an addict. If you're suffering from alcoholism or substance abuse, that's it. If you can't afford to pay for your own treatment, you're left to die.
That is awful.
For our country, the UK and the US, the two greatest countries in the world, to allow people who are suffering from an illness to die like that,
and
it's disgusting.
Mitch, I agree. It's completely disgusting. And for anybody who wonders, is this an illness or isn't it, first, I urge you to define what disease is. And as far as I'm concerned, anything that affects the biology of your body and brain, that results in circumstances and behaviors that result in your death or potentially threaten your life and have severe medical consequences, I call that a disease. I just do.